Student orgs, how we doing? Name's Tanner McCracken, Chairman of the Appropriations Committee for the Student Association Senate, and I welcome you to this tutorial video to show you how to properly request supplemental funding. Now, you should be in the right place. This is the form supplemental funding, meaning you already have a full essay budget allocated to you for this school year, okay? And if you do, of course, this is why the committee is here. You can always request additional funding. So this is why you're here. If that description does not apply to you, there's two other forms that may apply to you. It's called the new and unfunded form and the sponsorship form, okay? But if you are a recognized student group with a budget already, welcome. So this is to make it a little easier to show you how you would go about requesting it, and I can show you an example to make you understand it better. So let's get into it. So at the beginning of the form, some simple stuff. You have the name of your org, and for the example I'm just going to use student group X, okay? You have to put the name of your group president. I am the proud president of student group X, and also you need to put the email, and same goes for the treasurer and the email of the treasurer. Now, this is important to understand because when you request supplemental funding, okay, that's going to be the main mode of our communication is through email. So please, for the two people that are going to be on your form, be checking your email because you will be receiving an email from me after you submit this form. Okay, next on the form, you want to put in your organization's mission statement. Now, this is important for us to have because we need to make sure that your event or whatever your, items that you're requesting funding for, we got to make sure that it relates to your mission statement, okay? We're not going to deny you or approve you just based off the content of your mission statement, but we just want to make sure that it matches up, okay? So this is a good example here. Student Group X's mission is to give the opportunity to every undergraduate student of UAlbany the chance to learn about X. We seek to open up the minds of our peers by having events that celebrate X, teach X, and allow, see, this is why you reread things, right? Guest speakers from the field of X to speak to students. In addition to this, we send members of Student Group X to the X Conference in Washington, D.C. every year to experience X at the cultural epicenter of X. Now, I know this is quite a ridiculous example, and you're probably wondering, Chairman McCracken, why are you reading this to me? Well, even though I'm putting X everywhere to describe my student group, this is actually a really good example of a mission statement. And even giving examples of what type of events you do, that's really helpful for us. So although it is funny that X is the name of my student group, that is actually a pretty good example. So take that as you will. Also need a list of all your currently active members of your group. So upload a file right there. And then right here is very important. Why are you requesting supplemental funding? Because you already have a budget. You got to explain to me and the committee, why do you need extra money? Okay. So right here, you want to explain how this relates to your mission statement, why you need it and why this funding would be reasonable to add to your current budget. And if this form is approved, you will also have to explain that again to the committee. And the Appropriations Committee, in addition to the Student Association Senate, will question you on these sorts of things. So it's good to be prepared to answer these type of questions. So here's my example. This year, we've decided to send more than just our e-board to the X conference. Okay. Therefore, additional funding is needed to expend the costs of the extra plane tickets and hotel rooms. This funding is reasonable because blah, 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 and then you'll get into it. Now, this is a really good example, expanding upon a current event. Okay, so that is the example I will be going with. But another example could be that you've had so many events this year, you use a lot of your budget and you're looking to have more events. That's another reason. It could be a completely new event, but I'll show you the example of an event that we already had money budgeted towards it. And I'll also show you an example of an event where, let's say, we didn't have anything budgeted towards it. Okay, so that's my answer for that. Okay, next you want to put in your current budget allocation. Okay, so let's say it's around $10,000. It could be any sort of amount, but this is important for us because the next question is how much of it have you spent? Now, if your number's looking more a little like that, if it's looking like that, we're going to say, well, why are you coming for more money? Spend the money you already have. Okay, if it's looking a little more like that, that's pretty reasonable. You know what I mean? A little like that, because you might have other things budgeted for the future. You don't have to, this is very important. You don't have to expend your entire budget to come to appropriations. You don't, okay? But we are looking to see that you are spending what you were budgeted for. Okay, so this does not make or break your request, but it does tell the committee a story. It tells us a story on how you're spending your money. And so let's say we'll put it at 5,000. Okay, it's fine. Even though you have the other 5,000 budgeted for next semester, but this semester you want to request more money because you got another idea for an event. Let's say that. Okay, what is the total amount you are requesting? Well, we can't tell this until we do some work on our Excel spreadsheet. So let's go over to the Excel spreadsheet that I have made here. Okay, and hopefully you can see that. Okay, this is the supplemental funding example here. So we're going to conference X, or the X conference. I forgot what I called it, but we're going to the X conference in Washington, D.C. Okay, so we need to figure out how much that would be for all of our members, okay? And this is something that you'll have to do as a treasurer or a group president, but we need to see this as an appropriations committee, okay? So let's say I'm gonna do two examples, something we've already had budgeted for or something completely new, but the process is still relatively the same. So if you could see down here, give a little zoom in for you. There we go. Okay, here is our items and the price of those items. So here's what we have budgeted in our current 2020-2021 allocated budget, okay? Hotel, $500 is budgeted for, and plane tickets, we have about $1,300 allocated for plane tickets. Let's say this is for 8 group members, okay? But your group decides we want to send 16 group members, so 8 more, okay? This is not going to be enough for an additional 16. So we have to find out what the prices are going to be. Okay. So let's go back to our Google Chrome tab, and we will pull up first hotels. Okay. So I typed in, the area which we need to be, check-in and check-out time. I know this is, I'm filming this in October and I'm doing it for November. Please do not plan this close in advance. You want to plan these out way before, but let me just make my face a little smaller. Okay, so I'm doing you all a favor. So anyway, so here are 3 hotels, right? And I already put in 16 guests, okay? And it's telling me that it's a total of $1,002 for this hotel. This one's about $1,200. This one down here, if you see my mouse highlighting, that one's about $1,600, okay? Even though this one's the cheapest, right? I want to see all 3 of these price quotes because the Appropriations Committee, really, your requests end up faring well if you give the Appropriations Committee multiple competitive pricing. Okay, we want to see that you found the cheapest option. We want to see that you looked around. So I'm using hotels.com, but I'm not endorsing hotels.com. But if you want to use any other website, please do. Find the cheapest option, because if the Appropriations Committee sees a very expensive, hotel, we're going to say, why didn't you budget for this a little cheaper? Okay, and that's the truth. So we want to make sure that you have, competitive pricing. So let's say these are the 3 that I've picked out. They are the cheapest. Okay, there we go. There's the cheapest option, $1,002 for 16 guests. So I am going to go to my spreadsheet, and I will go there now. Okay, and right under here, which says hotel total, we are going to put in the amount that we saw on the website. Boom. I got to do I got to go that way. Get some 0 cents in there. Make sure we're very clear about that. So hotel, and there's the amount. Okay. Now these prices have to be backed up with price quotes. If you remember when you applied for your budget, we wanted to see this. We're going to want to see it again. We want to understand that these numbers aren't really coming out of thin air. So this is how you would go about doing that. You would go back to hotels.com and you would hit your screenshot button. So for me, it says print screen, and by the way, in my example, it takes a picture of the whole screen. So it's going to take a picture of me. So I'll give a little peace sign. I'll screenshot. So now my whole screen has just been captured by hitting print screen. Depending on what computer you're on, look it up, see how you can get a picture of these price quotes. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to my budget request spreadsheet. So here I am, and I'm just going to do Control V. And there it is. A whole screenshot of your page comes up. And like I said, that's why I pose, because I'm on Zoom. Okay, don't have your camera on or Zoom when you do it, but I just want to see proof that this is where you're getting the pricing from. Okay, so there's the 3 prices. I'm using the top one, and evidence is put in the same spreadsheet. But just know that if you want to save these price quotes or invoices, or this could be in the form of, by the way, price quotes, invoices, receipts, whatever the case may be. If you want to have this in the form of a file, you can do that. And that option is actually on the supplemental funding form. So if I go back here, you could see this is where you put the Excel spreadsheet, right? Here, if you don't put price quotes on the Excel, you could put it all in these upload file options. But to be honest with you, I sincerely think the best way to do it is just get it all in the spreadsheet. You know what I mean? Take the entire price quote for everything that you have listed and throw it on the spreadsheet. And spreadsheets, Excel spreadsheets or Google Sheets, whatever you're using, they go on forever. They're infinite. So you can really just put it all in there, save that file, and what you're giving the Appropriations Committee is this whole nice little file, and everything's on there. No questions, right? Okay, but anyway, we'll do it for this example, but again, you can upload the documents of these price quotes. Okay, so now we need to find out the plane tickets. So let's go back and let's get some plane ticket prices. Okay, so here we are. We're going to refresh our search for the Albany to Washington, D.C., same date. Make sure it's the same date. And then here we are. So we got some tickets for our members. So we got this one for $163 from United. We got this one, American Airlines, $166, $168 from United. American Airlines, United. Both of these are good. This whole page is good. Let's see. $163 is our cheapest one. So we're going to go back to our spreadsheet. And by the way, I'm obviously simplifying this example. Please do a better job searching for the cheapest prices. Okay, but for the sake of this example, that's what we're going to do. So over at plane tickets totals, we're going to put in that price of $163. We're going to multiply it by 16. And there we are. Okay. So $2,608. Okay. So that, and by the way, this is 8 for what we budgeted for. We're now looking at around 16, right? Okay. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go back to our Google. We are going to do thumbs up this time. We're going to screenshot these price quotes. Boom. Then we're going to go back to our Excel spreadsheet, and we are going to hit Control V. And there we are. And again, like I said, these are going to be big, but Excel is infinite. Put these all over the place, next to each other. And there I am. And more importantly, here are the price quotes for the plane tickets. Okay. So there we go. And that is reflected now right here. So, okay, this is what we budgeted for. This is the total cost of the event now. I didn't take food and other transportation into consideration, but that would be there. But I'm simplifying the example, mind you. And here we go. So now what are we requesting? Okay, very simple. We are requesting the total minus what we've budgeted for, because that's already in your budget. Okay, there you go. We'll do this one right here. Nope, that's not. We do the total subtracted by what we've already budgeted for in our SA budget. And there you go. So this is the new amount requested. Oh, by the way, I should have, it's important to have, but the sum of the total cost of the event. And then right here, we have what we actually have to pay for. or requests with this appropriations funding. So, and obviously with no surprise, this number is very close to this number. Why? Because we budgeted for 8 and we doubled it to 16. So the price is going to be very similar. But that's the problem, is you can't just say, oh, okay, we budgeted for 1,800, let's request, another 1,800, because the Appropriations Committee still needs to verify what you're requesting with actual price quotes and receipts. Okay, so there you go. That is the total amount we would request. So even though this math is wonderful, I actually don't have to see it. If you want to show it, that's fine. But up here where it says supplemental funding request, this is all I actually have to see. And that would be the amount requested. Oh, wait, it's not going to work because I have to type it in. But the amount requested, boom. And then the plane tickets, and then boom. That is that total amount. And then obviously I would put total and then sum it up, which I already did it down there. But the point I'm trying to make is this little box right here, that's all I need to see. And then to the right, I need to see these price quotes. Okay, but this is very helpful right here. Okay, now what if we, let's say, did budget for this event or didn't, right? Okay, so let's say we did, first one, we budgeted for the event, but we spent this money that we budgeted for on something else early in the year. That's fine. You would have to request the whole event in total again. Another example would be you didn't budget for it in the first place. So you never budgeted for this event, okay? This whole what is budgeted for, what are we requesting is not necessary anymore. All you got to do is just start from scratch. And that's the simpler example. That's why I saved this. Let's say you just never had any money in the budget for this and you just did the same thing. 16 people, find the price quotes. Once you find them, put that right there, put that right there, and that's your total request. It's $3,610. Okay? And that total is still backed up because it's the same price quotes. Hopefully I didn't get confusing there. I think what I'm trying to stress is this is supplemental. So if it's money on top of something you have in your budget, don't just request the total of the event. Request what you need to pay for the rest of the event. But if you don't have money for it, or you didn't budget for it in the first place, then yes, request the entire event to pay for the entire event. Okay? Either is okay in terms of requesting. Whether or not the Appropriations Committee will accept it, that's the will of the committee. That's the will of the individual senators as a collective body deciding upon that. Okay? So let's just go with our second example. Let's say this is our grand total, $3,610. We would go back to our MyInvolvement form. I'm trying to find it here. There it is. And here we are. And we would put that number in there. So the total amount requested is $3,610. Okay. We would save that Excel spreadsheet and upload it here. If it has all the price quotes, that's fine. Move on. If it doesn't, upload the price quotes here. And of course, if you're really going hard on competitive pricing and you got like 10 invoices, 10 price quotes, that's amazing. But you only have 5 spaces here. Please just email it to my email, saappropriations@albany.edu. Okay, cool. Now, one of the last things you have to do is you got to get me the price per head for this supplemental funding request. Okay, and you might remember you had to do this for your, well, maybe you don't remember, maybe it was a past e-board, but every group has to do this when they apply for their budget. You got to do it here when you apply for supplemental funding. Okay, so price per head for events is the total expenses divided by the estimated number of people attending the event, and the price per head for just like items, if you were, let's say it wasn't like a planned event, it was like a piece of property, it is the total expenses divided by the amount of members in the group in total. Okay, so let's go back to our Excel spreadsheet and let's calculate that. Okay, Here we are again in our Excel spreadsheet, and right down here, if you could see, we're doing price per head. Okay, so price per head would be a very simple equation. It would be the total for the event divided by the amount of people going. And we know we are sending 16 people, and there you go. So that is a $225 price per head, which is okay. It's not optimal, but it's okay. And let me explain what that kind of means. Okay, what makes the price per head okay? Well, we all pay the student activity fee, which is $220 an academic year, which means for every single person going to this event is actually getting back their student activity fee in terms of like the benefit of going and an extra $5. Now that's okay. We do that for many orgs, but anything that starts going a little over this amount, that's something that, you know, the Appropriations Committee has to take into consideration. But 225 is not that bad, okay? You know, let's say we somehow, I know we budgeted for it, but I'll just give an example. If you had more people going, the price per head is obviously lower. Now, this is tough when it comes to just bare bones, amount of people in a hotel, amount of people on a plane. That's a little different. But if you're having like an event at a venue, it's very likely that you can buy the same amount of items and keep accepting more people. So let's say you had an event that cost this much and more people showed up. The more people that show up, obviously, the more benefit to go around. I don't mean to be too confusing, but I'm just trying to give an example of price per head. But anyway, for our example, it's $225.63. So we will reflect that on our MyInvolvement form. All right, 225.63. And there you go. Okay, wonderful. So now we're going to go down here, and it is, you know, has your group fundraised to help this cost? If it's yes, then, you know, indicate that down here and explain if it's been accounted for in your spreadsheet. If not, just hit no. And if you hit no, put 0. Put today's date, which, just so you know, this is the date I'm filming it. Boom, boom, boom. And yeah, and then you reach the end, and all you got to do is take a nice oath saying that you have filled out this form truthfully and to the best of your ability. And there you go, with a simple click. Okay, but seriously, make sure that you are doing this to the best of your ability and truthfully. Okay, so that is it for this tutorial video. Hopefully this made some sense to you. I know that I, you know, showed a lot of examples, and it could be a lot to take in at once, but this is still miles ahead of what SA has done in the past. We have never been out there reaching our hand out to our student groups, and I think it's about time we do. So this is why I made this video, but if you need additional help, I'm right here. My virtual office hours is Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. Please feel free to join me on Zoom. I will walk you through this request. I will answer questions, whatever you need. I'm here to help as your Appropriations Committee Chairman. And again, please feel free to ask any questions, okay? If this is accepted, it will go to the Appropriations Committee, and we meet on Sundays, and we will go from there. Okay, groups, thank you so much for watching this video. Hopefully it helped, and I hope you have a great day. Okay, everyone? Bye-bye.